in a very strange way. I hope you caught it. It was right in the beginning. He lets them know that he is a prisoner. A prisoner. Paul is in jail. Not because he has committed some terrible crime. Paul is behind bars because he is a disciple of Jesus Christ. Paul is in jail because he preached the gospel. And one would think that as we read that letter to the Ephesians, Paul would express some kind of bewilderment, some kind of anger or upsetment, even with God. Lord, I am doing your work. I have given myself to you. And now I find myself in jail. What's happening? Why is this happening? But when you read further in the letter to the Ephesians, there is no indication of any questioning of God in that matter. In fact, it's quite the opposite. Paul's faith is getting stronger. He's becoming more courageous. And his conviction to follow Christ is stronger than it's ever been. And as he writes, he gives us such good, solid advice for us to follow Jesus in the same manner. He says something that is very important for you to remember, not only on your confirmation day, but throughout your whole life. Paul writes, live your life in a manner worthy of the call you have received. Now those simple words take on greater significance knowing that Paul has written them from prison. He is suffering for the sake of the gospel. And he is uniting himself to Jesus, and he says to us, live your life in a manner worthy of the call you have received. The gifts of the Holy Spirit that you are about to receive will help you to do that. The gifts of the Holy Spirit that you will be anointed with will give you everything you need to be a good and holy disciple of Jesus, even to the point if you would have to suffer for being his disciple. Even if you would have to suffer for living and preaching the gospel by your way of life. And we know that to be true because as part of our Catholic family, we have such a large, extended family, don't we? Not only on this side of life, but on the other side of life. The lives of the saints have taught us how to live worthy lives. Lives on the foundation of the truth of the gospel. And we will always remember them. We will never forget them. In fact, you have remembered them. Because you have chosen a name of one of our family members to be yours for the rest of your life from this day forward. You've chosen one of our saints, haven't you? You've chosen their name because their life speaks to you. And when you are anointed with the gifts of the Holy Spirit by that name, know that you gain a very powerful intercessor in heaven who will watch over and protect you throughout your whole life because you took their name. And some of them have lived hundreds of years ago, right? But you remember them. chose them. Why? Because they lived their life in a manner worthy of the call they received. And because of that, we will never forget them. It's been a number of years now since I had the great privilege of going to school in Rome. I was there for 2 years, and it was a wonderful experience. When I first arrived in September to begin my studies, I lived in a house with other priests from the United States. So even though we were in the center of Italy, our language in our house, of course, was English. And there was a convent in Rome of sisters, missionaries of charity. And their main language in their convent was English. And they asked the priests in our house if we would offer Mass for them each day. So I thought that that would be a nice thing to do. By the time that I was able to put my name on the list, my week to offer Mass for the sisters wouldn't happen until February.